For what purpose does the gentleman from Mississippi rise?
To claim the time in opposition.
The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
I yield myself as much time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I rise in opposition to the gentleman from Minnesota's amendment. Put simply, the gentleman's amendment would further delay the funding of a ship that our Navy and Marine Corps wants and needs. LHA7 is a part of the next generation of large deck amphibious assault ships, just similar to the USS Kearsarge, which just returned from an 8.5-month long deployment to where they participated in strikes in Libya and humanitarian assistance and other missions. This America-class amphibious assault ship will be serving our country and providing a vital mission capability for years to come. The President's very own fiscal year 2012 budget request included $2 billion for the second year of incremental funding for LHA7. The previous Congresses have supported this ship and her procurement, and further delays to this funding are opposed by this administration, the Navy, the Marine Corps, and the House Armed Services Committee. My colleague introduced, he mentioned, by the way, the GAO report. The Navy strongly disagrees with the GAO report that the gentleman has pointed to. The Navy has the shipbuilder's proposal in hand, and at this point are working to complete negotiations to get this ship under contract this year, which may happen as soon as August. The Secretary of the Navy, the Chief of Naval Operations, the Commandant of the Marine Corps have all endorsed the minimum naval fleet of 313 ships, which 33 of those ships are going to be amphibious in nature. If the gentleman's amendment were to become law, the contract for this amphibious ship could be delayed. The ship's delivery to the fleet would be delayed, and the overall cost of the ship would go up. It seems to me, as a member of Congress, that we need to support programs and policies that enable our men and women in uniform to get the best possible equipment at the lowest cost to the taxpayer. The gentleman's amendment does just the opposite. This amendment also jeopardizes American jobs. Nearly 3,500 shipbuilders depend on this ship for work. Cuts to this ship's funding, delays in contracting, and political gamesmanship put these jobs at risk. Furthermore, the gentleman's amendment provides absolutely no cost savings. It just forces the Navy to budget more for the ship next year, and overall it increases the cost to the taxpayer. This amendment does not just delay LHA7. The amendment potentially delays our next aircraft carrier, our submarine, and our next destroyer. Finally, the gentleman's amendment is not good for the taxpayer, and it's not good for the Navy or the Marine Corps. Previous Congresses have endorsed the procurement of this ship. The administration and the Navy have endorsed the procurement of this ship, and American jobs depend on the procurement of this ship. I urge my colleagues in the House to vote no on this amendment and reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves the balance of his time. All time.
Okay. Madam Chairman, I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Aiken, the chairman of Sea Power and Projection Forces.
The gentleman from Missouri is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As the chairman of the Sea Power Subcommittee, we've taken a good look at LHA7, and this is an absolutely essential ship. Nobody is arguing that point. It's a large deck amphib assault. What's happened, though, is that the Marine Corps decided that they wanted to put a well deck in the original design, which has caused some additional negotiations and slowed things down a little bit. But the point of this amendment is to strip $150 million away from this project. That is a very big problem. It's a big problem because next year we've got an aircraft carrier to build, a nuclear-powered submarine, and a destroyer, and this money needs to come from the budget this year in order to keep the LHA7 on track. As we have talked about earlier this evening, we're in a bad position in terms of number of ships in the Navy. LHA7 is critical, it's important, and stripping $150 million does tend to threaten the project or at least push it off, and then you have to try and fund it in a year where we don't have the funds because we're building a bunch of other ships. So what this does is it guarantees that LHA7 is going to proceed, but we have to allow enough time for the negotiation.
Would the gentleman yield for a question?
No, I don't yield.
The gentleman from Missouri controls the time.
The point of the matter is that LHA7 has to go forward, and what we have to make sure is that we've got the funding. And as soon as the negotiations are finished between the Navy and the contractor, then we can move ahead on this project. So the $150 million is important. The exact timing of when it's going to be spent is in question, but the necessity to have the money is not in doubt. That's why we oppose this amendment. And
Would the gentleman yield
back.
now? Would the gentleman yield now for a question?
The gentleman from Missouri's time has expired. The gentleman from Mississippi has 30 seconds remaining.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to yield the 30 seconds to the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Whitman.
The gentleman from Virginia is recognized for 30 seconds.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to emphasize the need for our amphibious ships. The requirement, the national requirement is 38 ships. The Marine Corps says that they can live with 33. We have 28 today.
Would the gentleman...
Folks, no, I will not yield.
Would the gentleman yield for
the
a question?
requirement is 33.
Would
We
the
have
gentleman yield
28.
for
The
the question,
math is
Madam
very,
Chair?
very simple. It is a specific need.
Chair has to rule.
Let's make sure that we meet that
The gentleman
need.
from Virginia controls the time.
We have to make sure we meet that need. Our Marine Corps travels around the world needing this ship capability. It is critical to this nation, critical to our defense. This must be funded
The
today.
gentleman's time has expired. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Mississippi, from Minnesota. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to.
Request a recorded vote, please.
The gentleman from Minnesota requests a recorded vote. Pursuant to Clause 6 of Rule 18, further proceedings on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Minnesota will be postponed.